Yeah, FCD, Prevention Works, it stands for Freedom from Chemical Dependency, but we were founded in 1976, and we are now the leading international provider of school-based substance abuse prevention education. So we travel to about 70 countries around the world, and we do prevention. So we are upstream, as they say. We typically, the common denominator of the schools where we work is that they're healthy. One of the unique aspects of being a prevention specialist, which I am for FCD Prevention Works, is that it is a requirement that to be a prevention specialist, you're in long-term healthy recovery from addiction to alcohol and or other drugs. So I've been in recovery from 11 years, and we bring, when we work with students, when we go in and talk to parents, we bring in an age-appropriate way our personal stories and tie that together with what the latest science says about the risk of alcohol and other substance use. And with prevention, it's really about conversations and giving kids and communities the information they need to make healthy choices. But our approach to prevention is collaborative, so it takes a whole community. It takes parents, it takes faculty, administration, students all working together to create a healthy school climate. It's also a process. So it's not a one-time speaker coming in and saying drugs are bad. It's over and over again having a health-based conversation, because we come from a health perspective. We don't necessarily think about drugs being good and bad, but how does substance use affect somebody's health when they're younger especially? So one of the things that we also are able to do to compare, not to compare, but to get a sense of school climate. So what does it feel like to be at this school? Am I supported if I don't use alcohol and other substance use? Is there an environment that really supports kids who are making healthy choices? We actually have a student attitudes and behavior survey that we've administered to over 100 schools in 32 countries over the last 8 to 10 years. And this is a survey that it's anonymous, and it is a measuring tool that gives us a sense of like a school climate. It measures not only substance use among adolescents, but also what are their attitudes about it? Do they perceive it to be risky? And what are their perceptions about what other students are doing? There's a significant amount of kids, and very often the majority, who either are not using substances, including alcohol, or doing so in a lower risk way. So I always start off with maybe a skeptical group of parents or teachers or kids, students, and say, do you think the majority of 10th graders in the United States have had one full drink of alcohol in their life? And very often, what do you think the response is? Yes. And they would be exactly correct if that was 1993 when I was in high school. But what's really nice to see, and that can be really helpful to supporting health in a community, is that substance use, alcohol and tobacco use, has gone down every year. Clearly, parental involvement is really the most important piece, and because that's where prevention starts and where it ends every day. If a student, unless they're a boarding student, then they go back to their dormitory. So one of the most common questions we get from parents is, what do I say if my student asks me what my history, did I ever use substances in high school? They may, typically a very common challenge for parents is, how do I even bring this up in the first place? Because alcohol and other substance use is a topic that has a lot of baggage for a lot of different people. Because of family history, we know that addiction does run in families, and we all have our different value systems and around alcohol and other substance use. So when do you start the prevention conversation? Well, if it's a health conversation, it's never too early to start. So we have elementary curriculum, we have a middle school curriculum, and we have a high school curriculum. And obviously each of those is a very different conversation. In the elementary school, we're talking about health. What is the World Health Organization's definition of health? Depending on their age, what is a drug? And sort of, again, what does it mean to have a trusted friend? How would you help a friend if you were worried about them? And that is a conversation that continues not only through elementary, but all the way really through adulthood, but especially in high school. Yes, the school will implement programs and things like that, but it's also very important for parents to echo that language that the school is using and be on board to partner with keeping their kids healthy. We do parent meetings as well, parental workshops to inform parents. A lot of parents just really appreciate the basic health information, because if you're somewhere in my age in your 40s, or if you grew up with education that shamed alcohol use or said drugs are just bad, don't do them, that may or may not have been helpful to a lot of people. Because kids are watching, they're always paying attention. They can be in kindergarten, they can be seniors, but they are looking for cues from the adults in their lives.